Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a really critical piece of any real estate deal, the property appraisal.
Okay, so let's just imagine for a second. You've found it, the absolute perfect home. You're ready to go. But wait a minute, is the price actually right? How do you know for sure you're not overpaying? Is what they're asking even realistic? I mean, this is a question that everybody buying or selling a house has to wrestle with.
And that right there, that uncertainty, well, that's the universal problem we're talking about today. I mean, think about it. Buying a house is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial decisions you're ever going to make. Just going with your gut feeling, that's a huge risk for everyone involved.
So what's the answer? Well, it's an independent, professional opinion. It's something designed specifically to cut through all the emotion, all the speculation. It's not about what the seller hopes to get or how excited you are as a buyer. Nope. This is all about the cold, hard facts.
And that brings us to the appraisal itself, the answer to this whole problem.
So what exactly are we talking about here? It's a formal, written estimate of a property's fair market value. And the key words here are trained and independent. The appraiser isn't on the buyer's side, and they're not on the seller's side. They're a neutral, impartial expert whose only job is to analyze the property and the market to give an objective opinion on what it's worth.
And that brings us to this idea of fair market value. This is really the heart of the whole thing. It's the price that a buyer who wants to buy and a seller who wants to sell would agree on, when nobody's under any crazy pressure, they're both reasonably informed. It's that sweet spot, that balanced, reasonable price. You could almost say it's the true pulse of the market.
So how do they actually come up with this number? Well, it's not guesswork, that's for sure. It's a really rigorous process. First, they do a thorough inspection of the property itself, checking out its condition, size, all its features. Then they hit the books, doing deep market research. This means looking at what other similar homes in the neighborhood have sold for recently. You'll often hear these called comps. Finally, they take all that data, apply some standard valuation approaches, and put it all together in a detailed written report.
Okay, so you might be thinking, this is great, but why does my lender care so much? I mean, if you're getting a mortgage, an appraisal is almost always required. So what's the deal? It all comes down to one thing: risk.
Right, for the lender, it's 100% about managing their risk. See that house you're buying? That's the collateral for the loan. So if, worst case scenario, you can't make your payments in default, the bank needs to know they can sell that house and get their money back. The appraisal is their way of verifying that the loan they're giving you is actually backed up by an asset, the house, that's worth the money.
But here's the really cool part. The appraisal isn't just some boring document for the bank. It's actually your financial superpower. Seriously, it's an incredibly powerful tool that protects you, and it works in your favor whether you're the one buying or the one selling.
And you can see how this plays out for both sides. If you're the buyer, it's your protection. It stops you from getting caught up in the heat of the moment and overbidding. It gives you some serious negotiation leverage. Now, if you're the seller, a good appraisal backs up your asking price. It shows serious buyers that your price is fair and based on real data. Either way, it just brings a level of clarity and credibility to the whole process.
Okay, let's make this super concrete with an example. Imagine you've done all the hard work. You've negotiated a purchase price for a home. You've shaken hands, everything feels great.
But then, the independent appraisal report lands on your desk, and you see that the fair market value is actually lower than what you offered. Oof, that number is just staring you right in the face.
So now what? Is the deal dead? Not necessarily. In fact, this is the moment of truth. This is exactly where the appraisal shows its real power.
See, that appraisal report just gave you power. You now have solid data-based leverage to go back and renegotiate the price. It gives you a non-emotional, factual reason to maybe reconsider the whole purchase. And most importantly, it protects you from borrowing more money than the home is actually worth, which would put you underwater on your mortgage from the very first day. Nobody wants that.
And believe it or not, the appraisal's job isn't done just because you bought the house. Its usefulness goes way beyond just buying and selling. It's actually a key document in a whole bunch of other big financial moments in your life.
Yeah, take a look. Appraisals are used for all sorts of things. You might use one to challenge your property taxes if you think they're too high, or to make sure you have the right amount of insurance coverage. They're absolutely essential in legal situations like divorce or estate settlements to make sure assets are divided fairly. And here's a big one a lot of people don't know about: removing PMI. That's that extra insurance you have to pay if you have a small down payment. Well, once you've built up enough equity in your home, a new appraisal can prove it and you can get that monthly PMI payment removed. That can save you a ton of money.
When you really boil it down, this quote says it all. The whole point of an appraisal isn't just to slap a number on the house. It's about creating a solid, defensible foundation for huge decisions that involve a lot of money and serious legal obligations. It's the proof you need to make the right call when the stakes are incredibly high.
So, let's leave you with this final thought. A price tag on a house tells you what it costs. But an appraisal tells you what it's truly worth. And the real question is, do you know the difference? Because understanding that difference is absolutely everything.